Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. My Western friends here know how sensitive some people are, and some societies, some governments are, when the environment is hurt. I don't know, if you burn something somewhere, you got the helicopters coming and five police units surrounding your house. Or if you dispose something that where you're not supposed to dispose it, immediately people will report you, and whomever will come and check you out, which is fine. It's a very sensitive society when we talk about the global warming and when we talk about the environment in general. All right, well, I am all for protecting the environment, but there's a point after which I think we fall under the control of some big powers, and I don't like that one. The same as being protective or being cautious. It's a level after which, if you're too cautious, you become a coward. You know what I mean? So I don't want that threshold to be crossed. So we have here a little article coming from Russia, from Sputnik. And that's a very big news, would be a big news for the environmentalists and for these countries and societies and the mass media people who love nature, and they talk about the global warming, about the Paris Accords and all that. Okay? So what am I talking about? Let's go to this little article, and this comes from Sputnik. It is from today, the 19th of May 2023. Ukraine's depleted uranium blast. Europe on brink of environmental disaster. So, I just looked over the first few sentences here, and what I found is that the Russians blew up a ammunition depot that had depleted uranium ammunition provided by the Great Britain. Now, the Russians claim that there's going to be an environmental disaster because there's going to be a cloud flying towards Europe. All right. Now, I don't know if that is something that's possible or not. I'm not a chemist. I'm not a physicist. I'm not that kind of scientist. So I cannot tell you, I cannot assess it. And besides, I don't have those environment antennas so sensitive that if you come close, it's going to start vibrating, if you know what I mean. Not like that kind of vibrating thing. But anyway, so in this case, I can't tell you. But I would suspect others to pick on this little article that it was, what, 8 hours ago by Sputnik. But I don't think that happened 8 hours ago. I'm talking about the explosion. Maybe they're lying. Maybe they're talking smack. I don't know. But those people, it's it's very interesting that they didn't pick it up. Why? I verified. I checked before I got to Sputnik. I verified to see what other media outlets might say about it. So I put the same title. Pop. I don't see any BBC, any NBC, any Reuters, any Associated Press, no Guardian, no Deutsche Welle, no Agence France Presse, no Le Pays or anything. Okay? Asahi Shinjun or whatever the Japanese Shinjun is. So let's keep reading this article and see what the Russians are claiming. So first, this picture says is from I see that 13th of May 2023. So, Russian Security Council Secretary Nikolai Patrushev warned on Friday that a radioactive cloud was heading towards Western Europe following the destruction of a Ukrainian warehouse storing British-supplied depleted uranium ammunition. I do not know if that is possible or not. So, I will read what these guys are saying, and they're going to use a scientist. A doctor, if you can believe that. Sputnik News spoke with Dr. Chris Busby, physical chemist and scientific secretary of the European Committee on Radiation Risk, about how the West's decision to provide depleted uranium (DU) ammunition to Ukraine has potentially caused a continent-wide ecological disaster. Below is his answer in full. Recently, several web media outlets provided videos of an enormous explosion in the town of Khmelnytsky, located to the west of Kiev and about 200 kilometers from the border with Poland. There were two major explosions which produced a massive roiling, swirling fireball which, like an atomic bomb, developed upwards and formed a mushroom cloud which was black. I have represented nuclear atmospheric test veterans in the Royal Courts of Justice in London and have seen many films of nuclear explosions. This was not one. A nuclear explosion is characterized by an immense, intense white light which wipes out the camera, film, or detector. Depends how close you are. So, what was it? It was suggested by several commentators that an arms depot that had been hit contained the depleted uranium DU weapons sent by the UK to Ukraine for use in the British Challenger tanks as anti-tank penetrators. That the explosion was one involving the burning of the DU in the fireball. Since I am a specific authority on uranium and its health effects, but have also examined its dispersion and behavior in the environment, I will comment on what I believe happened, and why it is important. I was a member of the UK Government Ministry of Defence Depleted Uranium Oversight Board, DUOB, in 2000 until 2005. And also the UK Government Committee examining radiation risk for internal emitters. I am a scientific, so anyway, he tells you how great he is. Good. My main research interest in the area is uranium and health. So this tells us how great this guy is. Okay, how good, how authorized he is to speak. It said here, I found them in 2000. My main research interest in this area is uranium and health, particularly the DU particles, which are so small they act as a gas and move over very large distances once they are created by the burning of DU, depleted uranium. I found them in England in 2003 after they had come from Iraq. I found them in 2023 in England after they came from the Ukraine war. So that is the first thing. The material is able to travel very large distances. Therefore, in the Khmelnytsky explosion was a DUI-1. The material would move with the wind direction and should be detectable at monitor site downwind. First, we need to say that DU has a gamma signature. It releases gamma rays. The UK and US governments lie about this. They point to the fact that the U-238 that remains after the feasible U-235 is removed in the centrifuges and is sent off for nuclear weapons and reactor is a weak alpha emitter. They say that alpha radiation cannot penetrate skin, and so the DU itself is harmless, that it cannot be detected by a Giner counter, and the alpha particles don't make it through the window. There is of course a health problem if the post-impact particles are inhaled and pass into the body through the lung, into the lymphatic system, or directly into the digestive system, but essentially DU is harmless. What you need to know is that uranium-238, when it decays with its alpha is beta-gamma emitter, delivers 6% of its decay energy as a gamma ray. Thus, large clouds of DU particulate aerosol will be detectable by gamma detectors. So he talks about what he did in 2000, and let's see what he says now about Chernobyl. He talks about that. He gives a graph right here, and this is the graph radiation level in Poland in May. Photo, the Radioactive Environment Monitor REM group of the Joint Research Center JRC of the European Commission. You see this? Where it's at? Now, I don't know, I can't read more than this is 65. I don't know what's measured. Sorry, it says here on the side, gamma dose rate right here, but I don't know which one would be the, the one that cause health problems. And from 65 right here in the 15th of May, it just jumped to 90 some. Not good. So let me see if, basically they say that, so he continues saying that the Poles did some research, and they noticed the increase in gamma radiation, and then he's just saying that it's a problem. He tells what the health issues would be. The European Radiation Detector System web map came back online on May 18. The MAC type had been changed, and everything we saw in the downloads had disappeared or had been smudged out by data analysts averaging. Why this and the early blocking of access to the site suggest panic and cover up. So basically this guy says that this is a problem, they cover up this. They talk about the Fukushima, Chernobyl, and he says, if I'm right, there has been an environmental disaster and the DU particles will travel across Poland, Germany and Hungary and will end up in the Baltics probably later. The whole of Europe, including the UK, after all the Chernobyl uranium particles came to the UK. And it says they will deliver generic damage and death like that seen in the Balkans and Iraq. Cancer, birth defects, miscarriage, infertility, lung damage, mental problems, and so on. Gulf War syndrome. So I don't know, my friends, this is what this journalist said. Even if I'm wrong and there is some other explanation for the gamma peaks, DU must be banned. It is a weapon of indiscriminate effects and kills civilian, the enemy, and you own your own troops. Well, Ukrainian troops. Well, this is what this expert, according to the Russians, say. I don't know if that's true or not. We are here safe, United States of America, but I don't know what's going on, how those particles will dissipate or not. The problem is, it's been detected based on this guy. So it's not like the Russians are saying this. The article is longer. I just started and I just got a few points out of it. You can go and, if you are allowed, go and read it. I already showed you the headline, the source, and you can read it on your own. And is this a cover-up? Is not a cover-up? I don't know, but I would expect these guys to say something, and they say, like fish, nothing. That's interesting, isn't it? Well, I think we should pay attention to this one. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.